Good morning and welcome to the show, and thanks for waking up with us today. It's Monday morning, so you know what that means. I'm here with Dr. Roman Nation from Nation's Best Family Healthcare here in Lynn Haven or out on Panama City Beach.
Good morning.
Good morning. Welcome back to the show.
Thanks.
You know, I'm an animal lover, and we are animal lovers on this show.
Yeah.
And I think you've probably met our veterinarian who comes on and gives us pet tips. And of course, we have Bay County Animal Services that comes on with our Adopt a Pet segment.
Yep.
And we actually had some pretty good success in getting pets adopted.
Yeah, I noticed that. That was
Now,
a really interesting story.
I know you're more concerned with humans.
That's what I take care of, yeah.
You take care of humans. Yeah. But there are some health benefits to owning a pet, aren't there?
Actually, yeah, there's things on both sides, there's been some good studies about owning a pet, or particularly dogs. A colleague of mine did a study when we were in residency about blood pressure effects with owning an animal, and he did an observational study where he looked at patients that had pets and patients that didn't have pets, and then compared medication regimens and blood pressures and things like that. And it turns out that there is actually a pretty discernible difference between pet owners and those who didn't own pets as far as their blood pressure, meaning that owning a pet and taking care of a pet actually will help lower your blood pressure. The science behind that is that having to care for another person or another human being or another animal is therapeutic and calming in a way.
It gives you some purpose, I suppose.
Exactly. When we talk about lots of stuff with depression and burnout and things like that, there's a big difference between what people think of when they wake up in the morning, I have to do X, Y, and Z today, versus I want to do X, Y, and Z, or I choose to do X, Y, and Z. And the vast majority of the time when they're taking care of an animal, it's more of the latter, where it's like, I want to do this, rather than, oh my God, I have to do this.
And people are social animals.
We are. Yeah. There's
and having families and having people around you, there's a benefit to that.
Well, and genetically, if you look through history, animals, particularly mammals, cluster together in hordes because there's protection in packs. You see that in wolves, you see that in dogs, you see that in lots of other areas. Even lion prides. The cubs are protected. In a group. So
my dog thinks, and a lot of people say, oh, my dog thinks he runs the house or whatever, but you're really part of his pack or her pack or vice versa. I don't know how that works.
Yeah, there's some correlation there. The part where people can get into trouble with it is, one, if they don't know how to do it or don't really want to do it. A lot of people get involved in the newness of, like when kids get a new puppy, it's like, oh, this is a brand new thing that comes around, and so it's fun to play with for the moment, but then they don't want to take care of it long term.
Well, and I see it every week with Bay County Animal Services when they come on the show, and they'll bring some dog that was maybe I think they call it an owner surrender,
right,
where they're like, well, we can't take care of him, he's not so cute anymore,
right?
Or there's some poor dog running the streets because someone just abandoned him.
Yep.
I mean, you've got to go into that.
They just let him go, and like I said, there's when families do that, when they're buying one of their kids an animal, they've got to be the ones that want to be able to do it, or they have to be the ones that discipline their kids to take care of it. If you don't have the time or energy to discipline your child and to take care of the animal that they wanted, then you're basically just teaching them, like, well, if you get something you don't like, you just toss it away.
Yeah.
Which in our consumerism society has gone. That's how.
But living things are not disposable.
Nor
should
people
they be.
tend to think of them that way.
Yeah.
But no, it's not. And
those chicks you get at Easter time turn into chickens. Oh, heads up! Spoiler alert! That little cute chick is going to turn into a chicken.
Yeah.
You don't want that running around your house, do you?
and it's kind of the same thing with having babies too. It's like there's a lot of pleasant things that can come out of pregnancy, but then that turns into something else.
That's a long-term commitment.
And we see a lot of that with teen pregnancy too, where you get these stories about teenagers, 14, 15 years old having babies and thinking that it's cool.
You're going to have a little doll.
Yeah, exactly. It's like, no, it doesn't stop there.
No,
and
wait till you get around 2 and they start wrecking your house. And then
and you have the same thing with animals too. Is that if you don't have the discipline to train the animal, then it's going to just create more havoc for you. But if you put the time and effort into it and learn about it, then you can have a lifelong friend that doesn't destroy your house.
Get some health benefits from it,
Exactly.
Yeah. We've got to run off to the local weather, but let's talk more about the health benefits of pet ownership and other ways you can keep healthy with Dr. Roman Nation from Nation's Best Family Healthcare. We'll be right back after your Waking Up with Don weather. Welcome back to the show. I'm speaking with Dr. Roman Nation about the benefits and maybe some of the pitfalls of pet ownership. You know, in the previous segment, Doctor, we talked about how your blood pressure could be lower, you'd have a more fulfilling life, particularly with dogs, but I guess any kind of pet.
Most of them. Mm-hmm.
You know, some people are cat people, and they get a lot of satisfaction out of owning a cat or a dog, I suppose.
Yep.
But there's got to be a downside to that too. I mean,
can
it be stressful?
There can be,
or?
yeah. There's and even aquariums actually can be therapeutic too. So we have one in our waiting room, and it's surprising how an aquarium has a calming effect on people.
Well,
too.
you could just sit there and look at these fish swim around, and we've had them before in our house, and you just sit there like it's TV almost. Yeah,
yeah. That's where the screensavers of the aquarium came out. To start with, but you know, we were talking in between about some of the other possible pitfalls, and that is if you have allergies or you know, asthma, COPD, those kinds of things. And I take care of a number of patients that have had this idea of like, well, I've had pets all my life, and they're, you know, keep getting sick, and particularly they get sick in the seasons. Sometimes there's an underlying animal allergy that's been there for quite some time, and other times it's just pollens that's related. So we can send them off for some blood testing or some skin testing to look for allergies. And I had one particular lady who she's had a dog and a cat in her life for the past 20 years, and she's got pretty bad COPD. Come to find out that it's made worse by both of the animals in her house. And particularly when you look at cats, the dander that comes off of cats is what allergists call the perfect allergen, because it's hardy, meaning that it will stick around for literally years after it comes off the animal. It floats, so and it doesn't denature easily, meaning that it doesn't unravel, so that it's not allergenic anymore. So when people have cats in a home and they sell the home, if the homeowner doesn't clean the house as somebody moves in there with a cat allergy, you can actually make that person sick. We have a similar kind of stuff with mold when it comes to allergies, but you know, on the mold, but on the allergy side of things with cats and dogs, there's a pretty strong component there that can actually make your lungs worse and progressively eat away at your lungs over years. And you know, and those allergic reactions, I mean, they would probably make you more susceptible to sicknesses or whatever bug is going around as well. Yes, yeah, because it adds the stress to your system, and it gets busy doing, you know, trying to figure out whatever this thing is that doesn't belong there, or thinks it doesn't belong there. And so then other bugs come in, and so it's just overwhelmed. And yet those folks do tend to get sick quite a bit easier and faster than the normal population. But
by and large, you know, having a pet in your life is a good thing, mentally and physically, apparently.
Yep. Yeah, there's a lot of positive benefits to it. You know, if you can take care of it, obviously. You know, you don't want to have somebody who travels 3 days out. You know, three months.
It's not fair to the animal.
Exactly.
Leave them locked up all day.
And we have the opposite side with, you know, what they call animal hoarders, where you'll have homes that have literally 15 or 20 cats in them, or 25 or 30 dogs. I mean, we've taken care of patients that had that, and they had to call animal services out there to clean the house up because the animals were getting neglected in addition to the patient that we're taking care of.
So responsible pet ownership can be beneficial to your health.
Everything in moderation.
Everything in moderation, and there is a mind-body connection there.
Correct.
That,
yes, sir.
You know, if you're a happy camper, your blood pressure will probably be under control.
Yes, exactly.
Dr. Roman Nation, thank you so much for coming on the show and getting us smart on pet ownership.
Thank you very much.
All right.
See you next week.
And we'll be right back. Welcome back to the show. I'm here with Dr. Aaron Shores from Spine and Neural Pain Specialists here in Panama City and up in Chipley as well. Dr. Shores, welcome back to the show.
Thank you.
Now, what are some of the more common complaints that you get from people? I mean, people will come in and say, oh, doc, maybe I'm not feeling well or I'm unsure, and you take a picture of them or you get an x-ray, you look at it, and maybe you see something wrong.
Yeah.
Is that kind of a scenario that you'd see typically?
That's pretty common. And a lot of times folks will come in and they'll have an x-ray or an MRI, or we'll order one, and their MRI will say that they have a bulging disc or a disc herniation or degenerative disc disease, which
that's got to be painful, huh?
Yeah, that's a scary sounding term, and sometimes it certainly can be a cause to their symptoms, but I find a lot of times too that it's actually not.
Really?
A lot of these conditions are age related. Some of these changes in the disc that we see just occur with age and have been present for a long time. We just didn't know about it until we took a picture of their back because their back was hurting. But oftentimes the x-rays or the MRIs are not helpful.
So you could be walking around with a bulging disc and not even know it.
Correct.
And you can go your whole life with something like that.
Correct.
Or at least the second half of your life. Maybe you're an older person and it's a part of the aging process and you're just totally asymptomatic.
That is true.
So I could go in and say, I got lower back pain, but you see a bulging disc higher up on my back. And
yeah, if the bulging disc is pushing on a nerve which correlates with your symptoms, then yes, maybe that's a problem. But I just see a lot of times in my clinic that folks come to me and incidentally when we take a picture of them, we happen to see a degenerative disc disease or a bulging disc that is not their problem. So we spend a lot of time educating people saying, yes, it's there, but a lot of folks, in a particular age group have these kind of findings. And we want to make sure that we're treating patients and symptoms, not X-ray or MRI pictures.
So you want to treat a person, not a picture.
Right.
But couldn't that develop into something else down the road? You've got a bulging disc now, maybe it's asymptomatic, but wouldn't you want to take care of it just in case? Well, instead of a prophylaxis, how often do you get to work that word into a conversation?
Yeah. No, absolutely. Well, if you're dealing with your automobile, sometimes that makes sense. But in the spine, particularly dealing with back pain, especially back or neck pain only, with no pinched nerve symptoms, it's managing risk and benefits. Because treating disc pain, for example, if it truly is disc pain, is challenging, and there's not always a great outcome. So to empirically treat something in the spine, especially if someone's not symptomatic from it, I would advise against that, because sometimes we end up doing more harm than good. Just because there are people that live long, happy lives with degenerative disc disease or bulging discs and they never cause them a problem. And a lot of people walking around and have them and don't even know about it. But we want to make sure when we take the X-ray or the MRI, we use those studies as one tool in evaluating a patient and making a treatment plan for them. But we don't make it the only tool. So that's important to understand and always discuss with your physician or somebody who has the training to make those decisions. So that you don't end up getting unnecessary treatment, which may or may not be good, and you make sure that you end up getting the proper treatment so that you can get restoration of your function and relief of your pain as soon as possible. Now,
if you've got a bulging disc and it is causing you pain, what would you do with that? Does that necessarily mean it has to come out, or?
No, not necessarily. Sometimes you can start with very basic things like modifying behavior. Sometimes some over-the-counter anti-inflammatories is all that's necessary. Sometimes physical therapy is all that's needed. And then if those things fail, or the condition is causing some more serious nerve entrapment or nerve compromise, then maybe other more aggressive treatments like an epidural steroid injection or even in some severe cases surgery might be immediately indicated, but not always.
So it sounds like surgery is your last resort.
In some cases, there are a few emergent criteria that surgery would be more of a first resort, but a lot of times, especially in a chronic setting, there are other options that should be failed first before going to something more aggressive, because surgery, while it can help a lot of people, it's not without risk either, and sometimes folks get a little too quick to go to surgery and they wind up finding out there were other problems or other things they should have done.
Well, I guess the baseline advice again is, if you're in doubt, go see a doctor.
Absolutely.
And see Dr. Aaron Shores. We'll be right back. Welcome back to the show. I'm here with Christina Williams from Superior Residences here on Panama City Beach. Now, I say Superior Residences as if it's already open, but it's not.
It's not open yet. We actually are finishing our construction and moving into the building as we speak. But our grand opening celebration is coming up on February the 24th.
February the 24th will be the grand opening of Superior Residences on Panama City Beach. And what makes Superior Residences so unique to Panama City Beach?
Well, this is a brand new resort-style senior living community. There's nothing else like this in town. We have all the amenities of a resort, but all the comforts of home. Our residents will get to enjoy a movie theater. We have a chapel on site. We have a huge arts and crafts room. We have a lounge where we'll have daily happy hour for our residents to come and enjoy.
Woohoo, happy hour for the
Absolutely.
seniors. Great.
So it's resort style senior living. We want our residents to be able to enjoy their retirement and
So if someone wanted to learn more about Superior residences. Maybe you're a senior, or you have a parent who's looking for a situation. What could we do to find out more about it?
We encourage anyone who's interested to come to our grand opening. It's from 4 to 7 on the 24th. Or if you'd like to come out before, we are scheduling tours. They can just call our office and schedule a time, and we'll be glad to explain our services and give them a tour of the property.
And where exactly are you located?
We are at 95 Grand Heron Drive off of Richard Jackson at the entrance to the Glades, right behind the Comfort Suites.
Okay, this Comfort Suites Hotel.
Yes.
There, which is kind of a good location for a senior community, because if people from out of town want to come and visit their senior,
they have a hotel.
You got a
on
place
property.
to stay right next door.
Absolutely.
Which is really awesome.
It is.
So what could we expect to see at this grand opening?
Wow, we're going to have live entertainment. We've got food. One of the things about our community is that we have culinary trained chefs who are on staff with us that cook for our residents. So they're going to be doing the food. So our guests will get to enjoy some of the cuisine like our guests will eat when they are living with us. We have door prizes. We're going to have some big door prizes, as well as just tours of the building and things to see, so that you can really kind of get a grasp for what we have to offer.
Oh, that's so great. So on the grand opening on the 24th, we show up there, we get to sample the food.
Yes.
You know, you get to see the place and sample the food that your seniors will be eating when you get there. And it's a culinary trained chef, so sounds like it's going to be some pretty good chow going on there at Superior Residences.
It's going to be very good.
Is there anything else that we need to know? Can we go to your website and maybe learn more about Superior Residences?
Yes, sir. Our website is superioralf.com, and you can go there and find out more information about us. And again, call our office at 249-4969, and we'll be glad to schedule a tour or mail you a packet of information about our community.
Yeah, and you know, I toured the facility when it was under construction, and it looked pretty big and it looked pretty massive. I'm dying to get back there to see it in its final phase, because it's kind of like a snapshot for me. It's going to be a real before and after. I mean, I was duly impressed, you know, during the construction about how open that entrance was. You know, you got this big atrium, I guess, for lack of a better term.
You should see it now. Yeah. Well, each floor, it's a 3-story building. Each floor is over 30,000 square feet. So we have lots of space, and it's just beautifully decorated and very
And the individual apartments that you have in there can be nicely appointed by the residents. I mean, you bring your own furniture with you, so it's really home.
It is. Everything inside the apartments is done very neutral, so that they can bring their own furniture, their own decor, and really make it their own home.
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
I got to tell you, it's probably no better situation for somebody who needs just a little bit of help to have a happy life in their sunset years. Well, thank you so much for everything you do.
Thank you for having us
Thanks
so
for
much.
coming on the show, and I'm dying to see the place.
Come on and see us.
All right.
All right.
All right, we'll be right back. Welcome back to the show. I'm here with Randy Akins from 5L Fitness, your official Waking Up with Don trainer. Randy, welcome back to the show. Good to see you, my friend.
Good to see you too, man. How are you?
I'm okay. I got a little bit of a problem I need your help with.
Okay.
Now, listen,
I'm a problem solver.
You know, I used to be a New York City firefighter.
Okay.
100 years ago. Left the firehouse in 1996, and now I get a call from my buds, and they're like, hey, we're having a reunion, right?
Okay.
I got to look hard for these guys. I mean, I got till April to get in shape.
Till April?
Yeah.
All right, that's not a lot of time.
It's not a lot of time.
Okay.
What can I do to kind of turn it around?
So, first things first, how much activity do you have in your day right now?
That much.
So about that much, okay? We'll talk about that in a sec. And how many times a day do you eat?
Ooh, you know, every chance I get, usually 3 times, sometimes 4.
Okay.
Usually it's snacking.
Okay, so snacking, so...
The only real meal of my day, Randy, is dinner when I sit down. The
okay.
rest is
So the rest is lighter stuff, and then you kind of eat toward the end of the day.
All right.
Okay. So we probably need to reverse your eating. You should probably start with a heavier meal in the morning. Not a huge breakfast, but something that's going to give you some energy throughout the day to keep your blood sugar from spiking. And that'll, you know, help to prolong your energy throughout the day. And then toward the end, you won't be quite as hungry because you've given your body a sustained energy source.
It'll give me a little more energy throughout the day, too.
And it'll help your body to burn body fat more efficiently, too. Because what happens right now is you don't get enough energy in the morning, and then there's a deficit, and then there's another deficit. And then toward the end, you eat too much, most likely, and then you fall asleep right afterwards.
That's exactly it. Get out of my head, Randy.
Right? Yeah, I told you, I'm a problem solver, right? And then you go into storage mode. So if you reverse that and start the day with some heavier carbohydrates or more starchy, not starchy, but heavier, more grainy carbohydrates, then that's going to allow you to keep that blood sugar in check all
So
day.
like take today, for instance, a couple cups of coffee, a piece of toast, I'm out the door.
Wow.
That's it.
Not enough.
Yeah, not enough. I should really take a minute, have maybe a bowl of cereal.
Maybe a bowl of cereal with either some low-fat milk or your choice of almond milk or soy milk.
I use almond milk now.
Okay, almond milk works.
Yeah.
And then if you use almond milk, you probably need some more protein
I
too.
heard that Greek yogurt is pretty good too. I
Greek
eat
yogurt.
that when I have the time.
That is a real good source, especially in the morning. It's got all the carbohydrates that you need, and it's got a whole lot more protein than the almond milk would have.
So that's a good first step. I guess the good first step is to treat yourself right first thing in the morning,
Absolutely.
and then you'll have
And
more
it'll
energy.
last you throughout the rest of the day.
And I can burn that fat off a little better too.
You'll be a lot more efficient at that.
Okay,
Yes,
and
sir.
I'll be ready for the guys in North Carolina this April.
Well, we'll talk about your fitness later, but start with the food, and then I'll help you with the fitness as we go.
Randy Akins, thanks for that sound advice. And we'll be not right back. We'll see you next time.